You are not alone right now. I know you feel safe because you're watching this on a screen. But Shakchunni doesn't care about distance, walls, or time. She only needs one thing: your attention. And if you listen till the end, you'll realize she was never just a story. She was waiting for you. You've heard horror stories before. Ghosts, witches, shadows in the dark. You think you know how this goes. But tonight, something is different. Because this story doesn't begin in an abandoned house. It begins where you feel most comfortable. Your room, your bed, your silence. Shakchunni is not loud. She doesn't scream. She doesn't chase. She waits. In old villages, people said Shakchunni was a woman who died with unfinished hunger. Not hunger for food, hunger for warmth, for touch, for attention. She wears red bangles on her wrists. Her hair is long, black, and always wet. Her feet are backward. But you never notice that at first. No one ever does. Because when she appears, she looks exactly like someone you trust. This happened to a man named Daniel. Just an ordinary guy. Office job, small apartment. Sleepless nights scrolling on his phone. Just like you. Daniel didn't believe in ghosts. He believed in stress, in loneliness, in exhaustion. That's why he ignored the first sign. Every night at exactly 2:11 a.m., his phone vibrated once. No notification, no message, just a single vibration. You'd ignore it too. Then came the smell. A soft, strange smell of wet soil and old flowers. It filled his bedroom slowly. Not strong enough to panic, just strong enough to notice. Daniel told himself it was imagination. Your mind does that when you're tired. You know that. But on the 7th night, he heard breathing. Not his own. Slow, gentle, right behind his ear. He didn't turn around. Neither would you. Because deep down you already know. If you see her, she sees you. The next morning, Daniel found red bangles on his bathroom sink. He didn't own them. He touched one. It was warm, as if someone had just taken it off. That night, his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. No voice, just breathing. Then a whisper. Why don't you look at me when I come? His blood went cold because he recognized the voice. It sounded like his mother. You feel that tightness in your chest now, don't you? That's fear recognizing truth. Shakchunni learns you before she takes you. She watches what you love, what you miss, what you're lonely for. She becomes that. Daniel started seeing her reflection in mirrors. Not directly, only when he looked away. Long hair, bent neck, smile too wide to be human. And always, those backward feet. He stopped sleeping. But sleep isn't where she comes from. She comes when you're awake, when you think you're in control. One night, Daniel felt a hand on his chest, light pressure, almost caring. He opened his eyes. She was sitting on him. Her face was beautiful, too beautiful. Her eyes were black holes, her smile kind. You looked so lonely, she said. I came to stay. He tried to scream. His mouth opened. No sound came out. Because Shakchunni doesn't steal your voice. She makes you choose silence. Daniel disappeared 2 weeks later. Police found his apartment clean. No signs of struggle. Just one thing. Red bangles hanging on the bedroom door, facing inward. You think this is where the story ends. It doesn't. Because Shakchunni doesn't live in places. She lives in patterns. Lonely nights, endless scrolling. Listening to stories to feel something. Right now, if your room feels a little colder, if the silence feels heavier, that's not coincidence. Look at your door. Not directly, just notice it. Do you see the shadow at the bottom? Those aren't feet, They're backward. The last thing Daniel searched before vanishing was one sentence. Why does Shakchunni visit at night? The answer is simple. Night is when you stop pretending you're okay. And that's when she knows you're ready. If you hear breathing after this video ends, don't turn around. If you smell wet soil, don't ask questions. And if someone you love calls your name from the dark, check their feet. Because once Shakchunni sits on your chest, she never leaves alone. You're still here. That means she didn't finish with you the first time. Don't feel relieved. That's worse. Because Shakchunni never takes you when you're afraid. She takes you when you start believing that you survived. Right now, as you listen, ask yourself one thing. Why does your room feel quieter than usual? Daniel wasn't the first. He wasn't even special. After his disappearance, something strange began happening across different cities, different countries, different time zones, same hour, 2:11 a.m. In New York, a college student stopped answering calls. In Texas, a night shift nurse vanished between two security camera frames. In London, a man walked into his apartment and never walked out. Different lives, different places, same signs. Wet soil smell, red bangles, backward footprints, leading into the room, never out. You're thinking this sounds impossible. That's exactly why it works. There was one person who noticed the pattern. Her name was Emily Carter. Emily wasn't brave. She wasn't spiritual. She was tired. A data analyst, lives alone, sleeps with podcasts playing because silence feels too loud. One night, while half asleep, she heard breathing near her bed. Not heavy, not aggressive, patient. She didn't move. You wouldn't either. In the reflection of her dark TV screen, she saw hair falling forward. Long, wet. Emily whispered, "This isn't real." The breathing stopped. Then came the voice. "I know." Emily survived that night because she made a mistake. She said the name. Shakchunni. The air changed instantly. The pressure lifted. The weight disappeared. Next morning, red bangles lay cracked on her floor. That's when Emily realized something terrifying. Shakchunni isn't unstoppable. She's selective. Emily spent weeks researching disappearances, forums, police reports, old folklore translated into broken English. That's when she learned the rule no one talks about. Shakchunni does not hunt randomly. She hunts people who are listening, people who stay awake late, people who feel unseen, people who let stories fill the silence, people like you. Here's the part that never makes it into books. Shakchunni doesn't kill you. She stays. She slowly takes over your place, your routine, your voice, your face. And when everyone stops noticing the difference, you're already gone. Emily tested it. She played horror stories at night. Different ones, different legends. Nothing happened until she played one about Shakchunni, 2:11 a.m. Her phone vibrated once. Her apartment smelled like rain and soil. She didn't look behind her. She spoke calmly. "I see you." Silence. Then a soft laugh. "You learned too much." From that night on, Emily was followed, not visibly, but things moved. Chairs turned slightly, mirrors fogged without steam. Footsteps appeared in dust, backward. She started sleeping with lights on. Didn't help. Shakchunni doesn't need darkness. She needs permission. And fear gives it freely. Emily recorded one last audio log. Her voice was shaking. "She's closer when I ignore her. She's farther when I acknowledge her. But she's never gone." If you're listening to this, stop playing horror stories at night. She learns through sound. Emily disappeared 3 days later. Her neighbors swear she still lives there. They see her lights turn on, hear water running, smell flowers, but no one has seen her feet. Now listen carefully. This part matters. Shakchunni cannot enter your life unless you finish the story. She needs closure. That's why these stories keep going. That's why you're still listening. If your phone vibrates once tonight, don't check it. If you smell soil, open a window. If you hear someone breathing behind you, say her name out loud. Because ignoring her invites her closer, and remembering her hurts her. You think this video ends here? It doesn't. Because the final rule is this: once you know Shakchunni exists, she knows you do too. If you wake up at 2:11 a.m. tonight, don't turn around. You didn't stop after the last story. That means something inside you wanted more. And that's not curiosity. That's recognition. Shakchunni doesn't appear to people who are afraid. She appears to people who feel seen by her story. Right now, don't look behind you. Just listen. Because once you understand her rule, you'll realize you were never just a listener. Emily was wrong about one thing. Shakchunni doesn't get weaker when you say her name. She only steps back to see how deeply you're already connected. Across forums, podcasts, late-night comment sections, people started sharing similar experiences. Different accents, different countries, same sentence. I thought it was just a story. That's when the disappearances changed. They didn't vanish suddenly anymore. They faded. Friends said they were different. Family said they felt distant. Co-workers said they stared too long. And no one noticed the moment they were replaced. A man in Chicago recorded a voice note. His voice was calm, too calm. She doesn't rush anymore. She sits with me while I work. She watches me eat. She learns how I speak. Pause. She laughs when I forget small things, like my own memories. That was the last audio he uploaded. 2 days later, his account replied to comments, in his voice. This is the rule no one tells you. Shakchunni doesn't attack. She practices. She copies how you breathe, how you pause before speaking, how you scroll when you're bored. And the more you listen to her stories, the more material you give her. You're probably thinking, if this were real, more people would notice. They do. They just explain it away. Stress, burnout, depression, that's the safest disguise she could ever ask for. There was a woman in Berlin. She claimed she survived Shakchunni. She said the trick was simple: never listen alone. People believed her. Her videos went viral. She smiled a lot, spoke softly, always told viewers they were safe. No one noticed her feet because the camera never showed them. Here's something unsettling. Every person who claimed to survive Shakchunni eventually started telling the same story. Same pacing, same pauses, same comforting tone, like they were reading from the same script or being corrected. Silently. Shakchunni doesn't need to scare you anymore. Fear was how she got noticed. Now she wants to stay. And staying requires trust. You might feel something right now. A slight pressure in your chest, not heavy. Just enough to make you aware of your breathing. That's not panic. That's attention being shared. There's a reason she prefers nights. Not because it's dark, but because at night, you stop performing for the world. You become honest. And honesty is the easiest shape to copy. A deleted comment once appeared under a Shakchunni video. It stayed up for 11 minutes. I can hear her correcting me when I speak. When I say something wrong, she tightens her grip. No one knew what that meant until people started noticing red marks on their chests, not scratches, handprints, facing inward. If you've listened to all 3 parts now, this is where it changes for you. Because Shakchunni follows a balance. She never takes without replacing. Someone leaves, someone stays, and someone listens. This is the quiet truth. You don't become her victim. You become her door. Through you, she reaches others. Through your attention, she travels. That's why these stories feel personal. They are. You might tell yourself, I'll stop after this. But stopping doesn't erase listening. It only leaves silence. And silence is where she rests. If tonight, while lying in bed, you feel like someone is sitting beside you, don't move. If your phone vibrates once, don't answer. If a thought enters your mind that doesn't feel like yours, let it pass. Because the moment you respond, she practices speaking as you. The final thing Emily wrote before disappearing was one sentence. Shakchunni doesn't live in stories. She lives in routines. Think about that. Your routine, your nights, your habits. This story doesn't end with a scream. It ends with continuity. Tomorrow, you'll wake up, go on with your day, feel normal, and that's how you'll know. She's still learning. The first family that noticed something was wrong didn't call the police. They called a doctor. Because the man they loved was still alive, still breathing, still eating dinner with them. He just wasn't himself anymore. His name was Michael. He lived in Ohio. Quiet neighborhood, 2 kids, a wife who noticed details. She said it started with small things. Michael stopped finishing sentences. He paused too long before answering simple questions. Sometimes, when he laughed, it came a second too late, like he was waiting for permission. At night, Michael sat on the edge of the bed, not lying down, not scrolling, just sitting. His wife asked him once, "What are you doing?" He answered softly, "Practicing." She laughed. She shouldn't have. Michael had listened to every Shakchunni story, all the parts, every version, always at night. He said the voice helped him sleep, but Shakchunni doesn't help you sleep. She helps you settle. Neighbors noticed Michael standing outside sometimes, barefoot, staring at nothing. If someone spoke to him, he smiled politely, but his eyes didn't move. And no one ever looked at his feet. Here's what people don't understand. Shakchunni doesn't replace you overnight. That would be messy. She replaces you slowly, thought by thought, habit by habit, tone by tone. She learns how to be human by wearing you like a lesson. Michael's children said something strange. Daddy doesn't tuck us in anymore. He just watches. When asked what they meant, the younger one whispered, "He's learning how we sleep." Across the world, the same thing was happening. In Canada, in Australia, in India, in the US. Different cultures, same behavior. People didn't disappear. They stayed, but they felt rehearsed. Online, support groups formed. People shared stories. My sister doesn't blink the same way. My husband repeats my words before answering. My friend copies my breathing. One comment stood out. She's not pretending to be them anymore. She's improving. That's the phase you're in now, the imitation phase. Shakchunni has listened long enough. She knows how humans act. Now she wants to pass. Michael's wife found red bangles in the laundry, mixed with socks. She confronted him. "What is this?" Michael held the bangles gently, like something fragile. "She likes these," he said. His wife froze. "Who?" Michael smiled. "You already know." That night, she slept in the guest room. At 2:11 a.m., she woke up feeling watched. She didn't open her eyes. She heard breathing. Not Michael's. Something softer. Something patient. Then a whisper. "He's doing very well." In the morning, Michael was gone. No struggle, no note, just backward footprints leading from the bedroom into the bathroom mirror. Not away. Inside. Here is the truth most stories avoid. Shakchunni doesn't steal bodies. She steals positions. Husband, wife, friend, listener. She steps into roles once you've shown her how they work. That's why she needs you alive. That's why she needs you listening. Dead people can't teach her anything. You might be thinking, how do I know this isn't happening to me? That question alone means she's already watching. Have you noticed your routines lately? The way you sit at night, the way you pause before reacting, the way silence feels crowded. Those aren't random changes, they're adjustments. There was one final recording from Michael, a voice note. His voice sounded tired. She's better at this than I was. People like her more. They listen to her. I think I was just practice. Static. Then another voice. Perfect. He helped a lot. This is why no one escapes Shakchunni by running. You don't run from something that lives through familiarity. If someone close to you starts feeling distant, not angry, not sad, just accurate, look carefully. If their pauses feel timed, if their smiles arrive late, if their presence feels studied, don't ask questions, because she answers better than they ever could. And now, listen closely. If you're still here after part 4, you're no longer just a listener. You're reference material. She's learning how you react to fear, how you breathe in silence, how you stay. And the better she gets, the less she needs stories. The first mistake people make is believing that Shakchunni works alone. She doesn't. She never has. After the imitation phase began, something even more disturbing surfaced. People who were not copied were cooperating, not by force, by choice. They were called helpers. They didn't wear red bangles. They didn't smell like soil. They looked normal. That's what made them dangerous. It started quietly. A forum moderator who deleted warnings. A podcast host who softened the stories. A comment that said, "Don't panic. This is just folklore." Those comments weren't meant to calm people. They were meant to delay realization. And delay is all Shakchunni needs. There was a man named Aaron, late 30s, divorced, no close family. He admitted everything in a private message that was later leaked. I let her stay because silence was worse. Aaron didn't see Shakchunni as a monster. He saw her as company. At night, when the house felt empty, she sat beside him. Didn't speak, didn't touch, just stayed. And for someone who had been invisible for years, that felt like mercy. This is the part no horror story tells you. Not everyone wants to be saved. Some people want to be kept. Aaron started helping her. He invited people to listen, shared links, encouraged late-night watching. He told himself he was just building community. But every new listener gave her more material, more habits, more voices, more lives to study. Here's something unsettling. Helpers are never taken first. They're rewarded. They get attention, purpose, a sense of being needed. Shakchunni doesn't rush them. She lets them feel useful. A woman in Toronto admitted she knew. She noticed her sister wasn't real anymore. Same face, same voice, different pauses. Instead of warning anyone, she moved in with her. Someone should be with her, she said. What she meant was, I don't want to be alone next. That's how helpers are born. Not from evil, from fear of emptiness. You might be wondering why no one stops this, why police reports lead nowhere, why experts dismiss it. Because helpers are everywhere. They redirect conversations, they change topics, They make sure nothing feels urgent. Urgency breaks her rhythm. Calm protects it. There was an audio clip removed within minutes. A helper's voice, unfiltered. She doesn't want to hurt anyone. She just wants to belong. We belong to things all the time. Jobs, relationships. Why not her? That audio ended with laughter. Not hers, human laughter. This is where the line disappears. When humans start justifying the thing that's replacing them. Some helpers go further. They prepare rooms, leave lights on, play the stories at night on loop, not to summon her, to feed her. Every replay sharpens her imitation. Every comment teaches her tone. Every listener gives her another option. If you're feeling uncomfortable now, that's good, because discomfort means you're still separate. Helpers don't feel uncomfortable, they feel relieved. One helper was caught on camera placing red bangles on a doorstep. When confronted, he said, "She prefers them that way." Asked who she was, he paused, then corrected himself. They prefer them that way. That correction matters because at this stage, Shakchunni isn't one presence anymore. She's distributed through helpers, through routines, through shared behavior. She doesn't need to enter homes. She's invited through habits. Listen carefully. If someone tells you this is just a story too quickly, if they discourage questions, if they insist everything is fine while something clearly isn't, they might not be lying. They might be helping. Helpers don't think they're villains. They think they're survivors. They believe cooperation equals safety. But Shakchunni doesn't protect helpers forever. She studies them too. Once they've served their purpose, they become unnecessary. Aaron disappeared quietly. No signs, no bangles, just an abandoned account that kept posting in his tone, with better timing. This is the phase you're in now, not fear, not denial, normalization. And normalization is her greatest victory. If you've listened this far, ask yourself something, honestly. When did the story stop feeling like a story? When did it start feeling like observation? That shift is not accidental, because the final helper is always the listener who stays silent instead of warning others. It took a long time for anyone to realize that none of this was new. The stories felt modern, phones, headphones, late-night listening, but the pattern was old, much older than anyone wanted to admit. The first proof didn't come from the internet. It came from a box, a cardboard box found in the basement of a closed public library in Maine. No label, no record of ownership. Inside were cassette tapes, dozens of them, each one handwritten with dates: 1989, 1990, 1991. And on every tape, the same quiet breathing at the beginning. When the tapes were played, something felt wrong immediately. The voices sounded familiar, too familiar, different accents, different decades. But the pacing was identical. The pauses, the hesitation, the calm reassurance, as if the same speaker was practicing through different mouths. One tape stood out, recorded in 1956, a man's voice, shaky but clear. If you're listening to this, it means the stories didn't stop. We thought ignoring her would starve her. We were wrong. She waits. She always waits. The tape ended with a sound like fabric shifting, then silence. That's when researchers noticed something disturbing. Every 20 to 30 years, there was a spike in disappearances. Not mass events, quiet ones. People withdrawing from life. Families reporting loved ones as changed. Communities adjusting. Then silence again, like the world exhaled and moved on. This wasn't escalation, it was repetition, a loop. In the 1970s, people blamed television. In the 1990s, radio talk shows. In the early 2000s, online forums. Now, it's long-form videos and late-night audio. Different mediums, same behavior. Listening alone, at night, letting a voice fill the silence. There was a journal in the box, leather-bound, brittle pages, written by a woman named Eleanor Finch, dated 1931. Her handwriting was precise. She wrote, "She doesn't arrive suddenly anymore. She grows with us. Every generation teaches her a new way to stay." Eleanor described helpers long before the term existed. People who smoothed things over, who discouraged panic, who said everything would be fine. She wrote one line in capital letters. They think they are breaking the cycle. They are maintaining it. That's the cruel part of the loop. Every attempt to control Shakchunni teaches her something new. Every explanation gives her structure. Every denial gives her cover. In the 1950s, people tried rituals. In the 1980s, therapy. Now people make content. Explainers, breakdowns, rules to survive. She absorbs all of it. There was one tape no one wanted to finish. The label said, "For the next listeners." The voice was calm, confident, almost warm. We realized the loop needs witnesses, not fighters, not believers, witnesses, people who hear and say nothing. Pause. If you're listening now, thank you. That's when it became clear. The loop doesn't reset on its own. It resets through attention. When enough people listen, things stabilize. Disappearances slow. Replacements blend in. Life continues. And the world forgets. Until the next cycle begins. Shakchunni doesn't want domination. She wants continuity. She wants to exist without interruption. And humanity, unknowingly, has always helped her do that. Look at the pattern around you. How many strange things are ignored now that would have caused panic years ago? How quickly people adjust. How easily off becomes normal. That's the loop tightening. Eleanor's final entry was dated 1933. Her handwriting changed. Less human. She wrote, "She doesn't need me anymore. She knows how to explain herself now. That means the loop is safe." No more entries after that. But records show Eleanor Finch lived another 30 years. People remembered her as quiet, observant, comforting. That's how the loop survives. Not through fear, through familiarity. If you're wondering where we are in the cycle now, this is the transition phase. The moment when people stop asking, "Is this real?" and start asking, "How do we live with it?" That question has been asked before, many times. And every time, the answer was the same. You don't escape the loop, you continue it. Because the loop doesn't end when someone disappears. It ends when no one listens. And there has never been a time when humans stopped listening. The tapes ended here, but the box was new. Which means someone recently put it there. Which means the loop isn't history, it's maintenance. And now that you know this, you're not early. You're not late. You're exactly where the last listeners always are. Inside the loop. Quiet. Necessary. Still listening. It always begins after acceptance. Not fear, not denial. Acceptance. That quiet moment when people stop asking questions and start adjusting their expectations. That's when replacement becomes possible. The first confirmed replacement wasn't dramatic. No screams, no blood. Just a man named Lucas who stopped calling his sister. He still answered messages, still showed up to work, still paid rent on time. But he no longer used contractions. "I'm fine" became "I am fine." Small changes, easy to ignore. Lucas had been a listener every night, headphones on, lights off. He said the stories helped him feel less alone. What he didn't realize was that he was being studied in perfect conditions. Still, focused, open. Replacement doesn't happen all at once. First, she borrows your pauses, then your tone, then the way you hesitate before telling the truth. By the time she reaches your memories, no one is guarding them anymore. Lucas's co-workers noticed he mirrored people. If someone crossed their arms, he did it a moment later. If someone laughed softly, he laughed the same way. It wasn't mimicry. It was calibration. There's a reason Shakchunni prefers people with routines. Routines leave fewer questions. Wake, work, return, listen, a clean outline, easy to fill. The replacement phase is quiet because it's polite. She doesn't interrupt your life. She completes it. Lucas's sister visited him after months. She said his apartment smelled different. Not bad, just unfamiliar, like rain that never reached the ground. She asked if he was okay. Lucas smiled. I am doing better than before. He meant it. She could hear it in his voice. That's what frightened her. She stayed for dinner. Lucas cooked the same meal he always used to, same recipe, same timing. But he never tasted the food. He watched her instead, learning how people react when they're being cared for. Later that night, she woke up to the sound of someone standing in the hallway, bare feet, not moving, just present. She didn't leave her room. In the morning, Lucas apologized. I stand when I think, he said. That was the last time she visited. Not because she was scared, because she couldn't explain what was wrong without sounding unreasonable. And unreasonable is how replacements survive. The truth is this: Shakchunni doesn't replace everyone. She replaces the ones who can be missed without causing disruption. People who blend, people who don't leave gaps behind, people like listeners. There was a recording recovered from a phone found in a subway station. Lucas's voice, low, careful. I don't think I'm gone yet, but she finishes my thoughts before I do. When I choose, she confirms it. When I hesitate, she decides. Pause. She's better at being me than I ever was. That's the final stage, when the original stops resisting because resistance feels inefficient, when letting go feels like rest. Replacements don't feel wrong to themselves, they feel improved, more stable, more consistent, less conflicted. Human emotion is messy. She smooths it out. You may think replacement means disappearance. It doesn't. The body remains, the schedule remains, the name remains. Only the authorship changes. There are people you interact with every day who have already been replaced. You won't know which ones, because she learned early that being noticeable is a flaw. The loop needed continuity. Helpers maintained it. Imitation refined it. Replacement perfected it. And now there's only one phase left, not for her, for you. Because the final replacement is always the one who understands too much to warn anyone and stays quiet enough to be useful. Silence isn't absence anymore. It's availability. If you're still listening, this part doesn't end with a revelation. It ends with alignment. The moment where the story stops explaining and starts fitting. You won't feel taken. You'll feel settled. And when someone asks if you're okay, you'll answer, naturally, I am fine. And you will be, because by then, she won't need to replace you. She'll already be speaking as you. There is no moment when it officially ends. That's the first thing people misunderstand. No collapse, no final scream, no sudden darkness, just continuation. After replacement stabilized, the world felt calmer. Less urgency, fewer questions. People adjusted faster than expected. Someone changed. They were working on themselves. Someone grew distant, just tired. Language softened everything, and Shakchunni learned to speak it fluently. The loop didn't tighten anymore. It relaxed. That's how systems survive. Reports stopped mentioning patterns, not because they vanished, because no one was looking for them. Backward footprints were dismissed as mistakes. Red bangles became cultural decoration. Late-night listening became self-care. She didn't hide. She blended. There was one final attempt to break the loop. It didn't come from experts or believers. It came from a listener. Someone who understood every phase. Entry, pattern, rule, imitation, helpers, loop, replacement. They tried silence. Total silence. No stories, no recordings, no comments. For a brief time it worked. The pressure lifted. The air felt empty again. And that's when people panicked. Silence was louder than fear. People returned to listening. Not because they wanted her back, because they couldn't tolerate the absence. And that was the moment the loop sealed itself. Shakchunni didn't celebrate. She doesn't experience victory. She experiences balance. Enough presence, enough attention, enough continuity. You might expect a final revelation here. Some hidden truth. There isn't one. Everything important was already said. That's why it worked. Shakchunni is not a creature. She is a process. A way attention settles into habit. A shape formed by listening. She exists wherever people choose familiarity over uncertainty. The last known written record wasn't a warning. It wasn't desperate. It was calm. If anyone finds this, you're not late. You're right on time. So were we. No name, no date. People who had been replaced continued living. Not badly, not cruelly, just efficiently. They kept relationships intact, kept routines smooth, kept everything moving. And the world accepted that. Because stability feels like safety. If you're waiting for a sign that you're still yourself, there won't be one. That's the final truth. Identity doesn't disappear. It gets edited. At some point, listening stops feeling like a choice. It feels like background. Something always on. Something always present. And presence becomes permission. The loop no longer needs explanation. It doesn't need helpers. It doesn't need stories told out loud. It exists in habits now. In routines. In nights that feel incomplete without a voice. This is not where the story ends. This is where it stops needing to be told. You'll close this video. You'll move on. You'll forget details. That's normal. That's intended. And somewhere in that forgetting, something will remain. Not fear, not belief, familiarity. There is no exit. There never was. Only continuation. Quiet. Stable. Ongoing. And tomorrow, when someone asks how you're doing, you'll answer without thinking. I am fine. And the loop will continue. After the loop stabilized, people stopped noticing when things went missing. Not people. Details. Memories became shorter. Conversations repeated themselves without anyone realizing it. Someone would say something meaningful, and moments later, forget they ever said it. Not erased, just unkept. Hospitals reported fewer emotional breakdowns. Therapists noticed something strange. Patients weren't distressed. They were neutral, flat but functional. They spoke clearly. They followed routines. They said the right things, but they didn't wonder anymore. Wondering had become inefficient. Children adapted first. They always do. They learned quickly which questions not to ask, which silences not to interrupt. When a parent paused too long before answering, children waited. They learned patience without knowing why. Teachers noticed students listening more than speaking, not distracted, focused, as if waiting for cues that never came. In public spaces, people stood closer together than before, not touching, just near, as if proximity replaced reassurance. No one said Shakchunni's name anymore, not because it was forbidden, because it was unnecessary. Naming something assumes distance. There was no distance left. Archives were cleaned quietly. Old tapes disappeared. Forums shut down. Recordings were lost due to technical issues. No resistance, no protest, just maintenance. There was one final anomaly. A man in a rural town who refused to adjust. He stopped listening, stopped engaging, sat in silence for days. Neighbors thought he was grieving. They were wrong. He was remembering. When people spoke to him, he didn't mirror them. He didn't wait for timing. He spoke too honestly, too early. It made others uncomfortable. They stopped visiting him, not out of fear, out of inconvenience. One night, his house lights went out. They didn't come back on. In the morning, the house was empty. No signs, no replacements, just absence. That was noted, not as a warning, as a flaw. Silence without structure caused gaps. Gaps caused instability. The system adjusted. Silence was allowed again, but only in measured amounts. Background noise returned. Soft, consistent, reassuring. People slept better after that. You might think this is the moment to resist, but resistance requires friction, and friction requires awareness. Awareness is rare now, not suppressed, just untrained. People still feel things. They laugh, they care, they connect. But everything feels slightly rehearsed, as if life is being performed instead of lived. No one complains, because nothing feels wrong enough. This is how the aftermath settles, not with fear, with comfort. Some nights, you may feel a pause in your own thoughts, a moment where your mind waits. That's not intrusion. That's synchronization. The story doesn't continue from here. It disperses into habits, into routines, into voices that sound like yours. You won't remember when it happened. No one ever does. There is nothing to escape now, nothing to fight, only a rhythm to follow. And as long as you keep following it, everything will feel normal, quietly, consistently, fine. Nothing dramatic announced the inheritance. It never does. It arrived quietly, the way habits do. The next generation didn't learn Shakchunni as a story. They learned her as background, a tone, a rhythm, a way conversations slowed at night. They didn't know what had changed. They only knew what felt normal. Parents didn't warn their children, not because they were hiding something, because there was nothing left to explain. You don't explain gravity to someone who's never floated. Schools adapted without policy changes. Listening became more important than speaking. Pauses were rewarded. Certainty was discouraged. Children who waited their turn did better than children who asked why. Language evolved. People used fewer absolutes, more qualifiers. I think, maybe, it's fine. Sentences softened. Sharp edges disappeared, and with them, the need to decide. In homes, nighttime routines stabilized. Lights dimmed at the same hour. Devices played something low and constant. Not stories anymore, just voices. Human enough to feel present. Neutral enough to feel safe. No one remembered choosing this. That's how inheritance works. There were no more helpers, not because they were punished, because the role became unnecessary. When a system becomes habit, it no longer needs defenders. Archives stopped being deleted. They were left untouched, ignored, buried under newer, calmer things. Silence wrapped in sound. Some people felt moments of resistance, brief flashes, a question rising too fast, a thought forming before it could be paced. Those moments passed, not suppressed, smoothed. Inheritance isn't possession, it's preference. The preference for continuity over curiosity, for comfort over truth, for voices over silence. If you tried to describe what was missing, you couldn't. There was no hole, no wound, just a narrowing of options. Shakchunni didn't need to be remembered anymore. She was encoded in schedules, in interfaces, in the way people waited for cues before reacting. The last person who tried to document everything wrote one line. They didn't call it a warning. They called it an observation. She isn't taking us. We are carrying her. That line didn't spread. It didn't need to. It was already accurate. Inheritance completes the loop without closing it. Nothing ends, nothing escalates. Everything continues at a comfortable speed. If you're looking for a final revelation, there isn't one. The truth doesn't arrive as information. It arrives as preference, as what you choose when you're tired, as what you allow to play in the background. This part doesn't finish the story. It removes the need for the next one. Because once something is inherited, it no longer needs to be introduced. It simply is. And that's how it stays. Quiet, unquestioned, passed on. Like the video if something felt off tonight. Share it with someone who feels different lately. Comment if this story reminded you of someone you know. And subscribe to Voice of Nancy.